Hey everyone, it's Xant. Sokai Week has come, meaning the new gacha suits are limited time, and that means roll while they're still here, or hold your peace until a rerun, whenever that comes. Now, if we're being honest, if you don't have much haro or you don't want to spend money, I recommend waiting until a future Bullseye banner or guaranteed limited 5-star banner comes around, since that way you know exactly how much it'll take to finish off a suit. Or end up like me and needing 90,000 haro to finish a 4-part suit. Patience pays off in the long run, but I also can't blame anyone who rolls this Sokai. Getting into things, we'll open with the 007 Sword G. It's a upgrade of the original 7 Sword that was debuted in 00V Battlefield Record, and was piloted by Setsuna Seiei. The 7 Sword started off as a prototype weapons pack for the 00 Gundam, designed for use by Setsuna before Celestial Being met up with him in 00 Season 2. This was also before the twin drive system had been completed, so it was effectively the stand-in until completion. However, by the time Setsuna got to the 00, the pack had been shelved for the twin drive system, and was forgotten about. Well, that was until after the war against the Innovators had ended, so at the end of Season 2 of 00. The 7 Sword was then given an additional weapon, and upgraded to the 7 Sword G, plus it was optimized for Setsuna after his awakening as an Innovator. Whoops, spoiler. It's also still in the prototype stage, but the technology tested in this suit eventually made its way to the 00 Riser GN condenser type, and that was primarily used in Trailblazer before Setsuna got the Quanta. If the name somehow didn't give it away, 7 Swords, this is a Pointy Bits weapon pack. And I should probably talk about said Pointy Bits. The 7 Sword G comes with 2 GN Beam Sabers, a GN Buster Sword 2, and this is actually the colossal weapon on the left shoulder. It's directly mounted to a solar furnace. It can be a shield that generates a GN field, a storage unit, or, surprisingly, a sword. It has 2 GN Katars. These are a pair of swords that are mounted on the knees. They're potentially still in the prototype stage, as the point of the weapon is to translate GN particles into heat, and deliver that to whatever the weapons touch. Long and short, GN particle lava osmosis. Now the flaw with it is that it may not work, or just destroy the weapon itself, more likely the latter than the former, so prototype. A GN Sword 2 Long, and this was designed with the twin drive system in mind. It's both a blade and a rifle, with the demerits of both reduced rapid fire ability and boosted particle consumption per shot. Prototype, remember. A GN Sword 2 Short. Now this sword is actually a wired anchor projectile. It's meant to replace the throwing things that Setsuna used when he was piloting the Exia. So those are the 7 swords that make up the 7 Sword weapon pack. The final edition is the GN Sword 2 Blaster. This was what made it a G. Ha. This is Gun First, Sword Second, and while the suit is in Trans Am mode, it can fire a shot that will be accurate up to 1,000 kilometers. That's kinda nuts, actually. Now, as it is a prototype, it isn't capable of sustaining Trans Am mode for very long, about 3/100ths of a second or so to be exact. I figure the blaster will be an EX skill, with a brief Trans Am snipe or something, as its 1,000 kilometer theoretical accuracy is only in Trans Am mode. But yeah, you're probably going to have to hijack the red afterimage glow from some other 00 suit. Our other Sokai suit this week is the remaining Unicorn RX model, the Phoenix. Making its anime debut in Gundam Narrative, with its original appearance in UC 1 of 72, which was a short movie only shown at Gundam Front Tokyo in 2013, it's the sort of successor to the Unicorn and Banshee, as it was developed using data from those two suits, and it was created independently of the VIST Foundation, but still retains many similarities to the other two suits, like the new Type Destroyer system and the Psycho frame body. That's really all there is. The suit really didn't get, not a lot of detail was given about the suit, really. Now, as for weapons on this Golden Phoenix motif mecha, it has a Vulcan turret set, 2 Armed Armor DE, defense extension. These are the back-mounted parts that you see there that look sort of like wings. These are actually the same shields used by the Banshee Norn. They come with an I-field generator, thrusters, mega cannon, all of it. And the little tail-like tassels you see are actually stabilizers. It has 4 beam sabers. Like the Unicorn, 2 are on the forearms and can be used like tonfa, and when it goes into destroy mode, 2 that are stored in the backpack become accessible. And a beam magnum. Tidbit, the default mode for the Unicorn, Banshee, and Phoenix are all called Unicorn mode, and of course they're all called Destroy mode when NTD kicks in. I said tidbit, not a neat tidbit, just a tidbit. Our final suit this week is going to be our Welfare, the Mudrock Gundam, coming from missing mobile suit variations and updated for Zeonic Front, a PS2 game, about 11 years later. Built using combat data from the OG Gundam, this prototype suit was primarily created to attempt to solve the original's issue of being effectively defenseless once the beam rifle ran out of juice. Now, how did they do it? By slapping more weapons onto it. It's like someone took the gun cannon and the Gundam and put them together to create this thing. As for weapons, it has a Vulcan turret set, 2 beam sabers, 2 cannons, these are the shoulder/back mounted ones you see there, 2 grenade launchers, these are mounted on the arms, a beam rifle, a machine gun, a hyper bazooka, an anti-beam shield, and the hyper hammer from the original Gundam. They just added thrusters onto it so it can go a little faster and hit a little harder. It's a neat piece of Gundam history, as most of the MSV suits tend to be. Now we're going to move on to our pilots, and as it is a Sokai, that means our Welfare suit's pilot is going to be joining us. Agar, no last name, is our Zeonic Front antagonist and pilot of the Mudrock. An Earth Federation pilot, he found himself protecting the Blanc rival, an assault carrier that had been at Jaburo and was under attack from the Midnight Fenrir Corps. Using the prototype Mudrock, Agar managed to fend off Midnight Fenrir on multiple occasions. However, it was eventually damaged beyond feasible repair. The Mudrock, not the warship. For a Welfare, he did pretty good. Fighting off a Special Forces team is no small feat. Now moving from Welfare to Gacha, our first banner pilot is Vincent Glesnier. Coming from Missing Link to join the others, he actually has no real info available, which isn't terribly surprising considering Missing Link was never localized outside of Japan and was only on the PS3. Our other pilot this week is Eric Blanc, a Zeon pilot and leader of the Invisible Knights. Coming from Battlefield Record UC-81, he was a hero of the 1-Year War and actively participated in the Tears of Varuna campaign, where Zeon was aiming to use one of the Federation's lunar mass drivers to threaten the Federation government and give Zeon true independence. Remember, that was Zeon losing the 1-Year War. They became effectively puppets for the Federation. Now, I think it's a bit extreme to resurrect your country by holding an entire planet hostage, but you know what, here we are. And with that, this week's content has been wrapped up. Hopefully, you're all responsible with your Haro, and remember that next month is both Christmas and New Year's, which always brings much pain to our Haro stashes. Anyways, thanks for watching guys, peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.